What do you consider influence? Is it what we learn from our parents when we grow up? Is it what our friends peer pressure us into doing? Is it political? Or is it the amount of followers you have? No. That can't be it. Whether you like it or not, you're influenced by everything around you. But it's not what influences you, it's what you do with it. In this series, I ask people from all walks of life what influence means to them.
Influence?
Want to influence the influence.
Whether or not you want to influence the world, but how?
Yeah.
How do you want to be remembered?
What's going on, guys? My name is Isfandiar Berahini, and this right here, this is The Influence. I have got a very, very special guest here for you. Great singer right here from Toronto. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Juno Award nominee as well.
Yes.
Mr. Jhyve.
Mr. Jhyve. I like it.
How you doing, man?
Good. I like Mr. I might have to add that to the name.
might have to just change the Insta.
Yeah, 100%. Mr. Jhyve might be it. That's beautiful.
What's going on, man? How you been?
I've been feeling good, man. Lately, I've been feeling really good. Just blessings on blessings, you know? Yeah. Kind of back in studio rap mode, just kind of like, which is probably my favorite mode, to be honest with you. I love being on stage, but I also like making new things. So.
Yeah, just creating.
Yeah, just creating.
I feel you.
For myself, for others, you know what I mean? Just writing, producing, just making music.
Yeah, it's been a long road for you, man.
It's been a long ass road, yeah.
How? Okay, so you've been in this for a while. Right?
Yeah.
How long? 2000. I was gonna say 2011. That's when the first time I saw. But you know.
That's like the earliest stuff that I feel like you could find these days must be like maybe 2011, maybe.
Okay.
But I feel like there's been, you know what it is? It's not like there was like a moment when it was just like I'm starting now. It's just been a very organic thing. Like I started, maybe half taking it seriously, maybe 2009.
Yeah.
In terms of like recording music, just period.
Yeah.
But then by the time like I really decided to like really go for it, was maybe 2011, something like that. And then there's just been phases where it just gets gradually more serious.
Was music something that was like always there, or was it something you just said?
It was.
I'm gonna take it now.
It was always like around. Like it was the kind of thing where it was around in the household. Like.
Yeah.
Like my dad DJ'd like all growing up and stuff like that, like heavy.
Yeah.
My mom was in the choir, still is, like Toronto Mass Choir, which is like heavy, like biggest choir in the city, more or less. Like she's on the road like as much as I am. It's crazy, yeah. So it was always around. Like even all my brothers, we're all very artistic, we're all very creative. We're all like we can all like actually like low key sing like a little bit too.
Okay.
I think we all get it from moms too. It's one of those things.
Genetics, eh?
Yeah, it's one of those kind of things exactly. So. It was always like latent, you know what I mean? Like when you got something in you like that, and it's always just like around and around and around. You just absorb it without even knowing.
Yeah.
And I feel like the moment it woke up is like I went away to school. I was hanging out with these guys that just wanted to like play guitar and like bang on bongos and shit all day. And I was like, oh, I could do this.
Bang on bongos.
Yeah, like just like, you know what I mean? They just want to get high and play guitar and shit. And I was like, cool, this is awesome. Like I could do this.
Yeah.
So it just kind of started that way, where it just came out of like a fun place, and it was just like, you know, like just to myself, like in the shower, like to my girlfriend, like stuff like that. But then, yeah, people just kind of like, people around me were just like, yeah, go for it, like encouraged, you know? And then it just became more and more and more and more to the point where I was like, man, like I like singing, like, but I could like, I want to like make my own songs. Like I like this, and it's just like I picked up writing,
and that's when it started.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, well you've seen a lot from Toronto.
Yep.
What do you think in general of just the rise of Toronto music? You've been a part of it too, but it's just this whole era has been huge. You know what I mean?
I think it's about time.
It's about that time, right?
Yeah, I think it's about time.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like Toronto's a funny place where you have like the intersection of so many different cultures, so many different people. And so when it all comes together, and you know what I mean? When it all comes together and you let that like marinate for like a solid generation, like, you know what I mean? We have our OGs here, you know what I mean? And like, you've just been watching it build and build and build, and every artist like kind of like breaks through a new ceiling, and so it's kind of poetic now that like the biggest artist in the world and probably one of the biggest artists of all time.
From right here.
Right here, you know? So that's beautiful, you know? And I think it just, it emboldens, like, it's funny, people talk about the generation now, but like, I don't even think we're done.
No.
I think there's another 20 years in us.
If anything, I think like what's happening right now is what's paving the way for
Absolutely.
other artists to come on and say, you know what, yeah, man,
Absolutely.
Toronto is where it's at.
Trust me. You think it's dangerous now, but like watch when your Drakes are more like your Jay-Z's.
Yeah.
And you got another generation coming and another one, like then it's gonna be a whole other level. You know, it already feels like he is.
Yeah.
But I mean just in terms of like when imagine giving that another 10, 15 years.
That's interesting. So you think Drake has already reached that like Hope status?
Here, yeah. Here.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, like
He's
locally.
He's a mogul here for us.
Yeah, more than that, like it's not even it's just like it's bigger than that. But absolutely, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's brilliant. You know what I mean? And to me it's just like, okay, like what's next now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we've been seeing that and it's a beautiful thing and we celebrate it, but now like it's exciting just to see like, okay, what's like the next wave of music? Cuz I feel like Toronto has a certain sound to it.
That's very true.
It has a certain sound to it.
Does, yeah.
And I feel like all this means is like the sound from the city is going to start like broadening. And you're going to start seeing like a lot of really new, interesting things coming from the city that like aren't from rap.
Yeah. And you see that with like other cities, right? New York had its sound for a bit. Atlanta has its sound right now. And then you had LA and West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Toronto is building its sound right now. In a couple of years, it might boom into something different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's like, it's cool because it's exciting now, but like, yeah, it's going to be even bigger. We're not done.
You know what is really affecting it more? Streaming and Spotify.
Yeah, 100%. That like people could just like, you just put it out there.
Yeah.
The game's changed. Like it used to be a very like gatekeeper kind of thing where everything was decided by committee and like a room full of people that like definitely were not on these streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now it's like it's a lot more democratic. Like people generally can decide. You could take it straight to the fans and they can genuinely I mean there's still like a lot of like there's still like a lot of business to it and a lot of behind the scenes to it, but more so than ever the process is out of control. It's out of the control of like the industry bigwigs or something like that. It's like people decide and they just have to respond.
So a lot of people have been taking it independent.
Yeah.
You yourself are you independent or are you kind of
I was
partnering with someone?
Yeah. I'm partnered with a label based out of Toronto.
Yeah.
And it's been great. It's been a good relationship, great people. It doesn't feel like very label-y like that, you know what I mean? It feels like they really kind of back my vision for what I want to do with my music, and that's important, man. Cause you could spend a lot of time just fighting with people trying to figure out what you want to do next. So you really want to make sure the people you partner with understand what you're trying to do and support that.
Was that whole relationship a big reason why the Juno Awards and just like the Juno experience happened in general? I'm
not sure if there's nothing that could like make.
First of all, congrats.
Oh, thank you.
That's super dope.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't think necessarily. How about this? As far as like sending it in to like apply for kind of nomination. Yeah, they did that kind of thing, but after that, it just comes down to
the hard work and the talent.
Right? Yeah, it just comes down to like whether they like you. And I was blessed, you know, because there's like everybody. It's funny, like everybody that I was nominated with is like full-fledged, like out there touring, like doing all this, and like so when I hit the red carpet and they were asking me like, how do you feel about like getting your first nomination? I was like, man, I was eating cereal. Like I went to work after. Like I ate Fruit Loops and then I went to my job. So cool to be here.
Yeah.
This
surreal.
is cool.
It's a surreal experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like very, very surprising. It felt like there were a lot of people that could have got it. So blessings.
Are you a little bit salty about not winning or?
No, not at all. I was in great company. I don't ever. There's a lot of people that get very, very competitive about about this music stuff, and I get it, but to me it's like I've already realized that like it's all gonna come down to my stories and what I tell. Like nobody could tell a story good enough to make mine not as impressive. Nobody can do something, or like there's always room. This is not a zero-sum game. Everybody could thrive. Everybody can win. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There's room for everybody.
Absolutely. As long as you are faithfully telling your story and serving your fans, nobody can stop you. Nobody can ever get in your way. You know what I mean? So I was just in good company, you know? Like, I think, Daniel season 1, and he's brilliant. Yeah. Had you know, Jesse, really good friend of mine.
Did you get a chance to talk to him?
Very, like, super, not even really. Like, I saw him, like, for a moment, because we both did a show with Jesse, who had a show in town, like, the night before. Yeah. So that was actually the first time I actually got to, like, meet him and be like, oh, hey, like, I'm Jhyve, kind of thing. And it was cool. Like, it was just very, like, we said what's up, and then, like, we just kind of chilled. We prayed for the, like, the good luck of the show kind of thing. It was a beautiful moment.
That's dope.
Yeah. So it's just, honestly, it was, like, great company, you know? And then later on that weekend, I ended up meeting Keisha Shante, who was also nominated with me. I already knew Jacoy from time. So all the nominees, like, they're talented people. I respect everybody's hustle. I love what everybody's doing, you know?
Yeah. They also, not made you, but they got you to kind of do a show as well, or a performance. Right?
Yeah.
Where you did Take a Message, which
is
Remy Shan's song.
Yeah.
I got it down on here.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
How, like, what kind, for taking that type of song and giving your own twist to it, right?
Yeah.
What was the thing that got you going and kind of give you the inspiration to do another take on it? You know what I mean?
You know what it was? It was I'd always been a fan of the song, so when they approached us, they kind of made a few suggestions of records. When they said that one, I was like, oh wait, like, that's something that could be really interesting, because it's, like, kind of in my range. Like, I know I could pull it off vocally. Yeah. It was just a matter of, like, making, like, the music.
You killed it, by the way.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. It was a real vibe. It was an honor to do it.
The video had a bit of, like, a Prince vibe to it.
Yeah, like, literally, like,
and then the silhouette.
They were so slick with it. Like, we showed up and there was smoke everywhere. I was like, this is cool. You want me to stand right here? All right, in the smoke. Yeah, it was cool.
And they had the whole band, or was that you guys?
Yeah, that's my guys. Those are my guys. Yeah. Shout out to the band. Like, everybody was really super dope. Like, everybody came to work, and it was a beautiful experience overall. You know.
That's super dope, man. That's super dope.
Yeah.
Man, you've been busy as well. On top of that, you've been dropping a lot of music.
Yeah. Like,
dropped 2 EPs.
Yeah. I put out a few things. You know, I put out Conversations earlier before the Junos.
Right.
And you know, that ended up, like, doing really well. Like, I'm so grateful to, like, just be able to watch the fan base grow, and to be just seeing it grow. Like, it's cool, because I feel like for some people it's kind of like an explosion where it just happens, and, like, before you know it, you're just, like, on tour, on a stage, and you don't get a chance to, like, really reflect on it. But my growth thus far has been really, it's been the kind of thing where I can really, like, take everything in and watch it happen, and I'm just, like, I'm enjoying the process. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, like, you see where it's going, you see where you're gonna end up, and you're just kind of, like, saying your prayers and enjoying the ride. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's kind of where it's at.
Counting everything as a blessing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
You know? So that's kind of where it's at. So, yeah, Conversations came out that, you know, did really well. And then
you dropped Dust to Dawn.
Yeah, Dust to Dawn was cool. Very different.
Very different. That's actually something I wanted to ask you. Conversations is a little bit more traditional R&B.
Yeah. Right?
And Dust to Dawn has, you were talking about it earlier, a little bit of, not a Toronto sound, but it has more of a trap soulish.
Yeah.
Especially with Light Rain, because you got that stuck in my head, by the way. Light Rain. I can't stop singing that. Yeah.
Love it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it was cool. I think for Conversations, we wanted to do something very soulful. Yeah. And then it was just the summer, right? Like, you're just going through the summer, and the weather's good, and you're feeling good. And I just wanted to do something, like, carefree, something that kind of reflected a change in my direction sonically. So truthfully, like, I love it, but I don't even think I'm gonna stay, like, in that vibe. I really like the music that I've been making lately. Actually sounds a lot more like what I did with Take a Message, like something that's soulful and a lot more instrumental. Yeah. Something that's more, like, raw and profound. You know what I mean? I feel like that's where I sit the best.
Do you get that from and guitar?
Yeah, probably. I feel like it's just, like, that's how I got started. I got started just playing guitar in my room and just, like, writing these sad songs on my guitar, and that's kind of like, that's, like, the root of where my musicality came from. So it just feels like an extension. That just feels like, let's get back to that, you know? So I felt like Dust to Dawn just felt like it felt like just like an evening out.
Yeah.
You know, it felt easygoing. It felt
was a
chill.
vibe.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like I could just put that on and be like, hey, like check that out. You know, I don't think I want to stay there. It's just more like, hey,
do you kind of like
have fun?
Do you kind of like how that's cool, by the way. do you kind of like how people kind of you gotta keep them guessing when it comes to music?
Yeah. I feel like, you know what? I feel like there are artists that are they do what they do.
Yeah.
They've got one thing that they really do, and we love them for that. But it's just that's what they do.
Yeah.
But I think I've been blessed to just like have options to really go into a few lanes. You know what I mean? Like, I've got like funk and soul records that are crazy. I've got like trap records that are crazy.
I feel like dance records on there too.
You know what I mean? Like there's things that kind of go everywhere, and I've always had to like be very thoughtful with like the direction I choose to go in. You know what I mean? I've always had that on my mind where it's just like, okay, I gotta really think about where I want to go and what I want to do.
Yeah.
So when I put out Light Rain, it felt like something where it's like, okay, I have these songs and I love them, and I just want people to like experience that for a moment from me, and just be able to do that for a moment, not stay there, just like have it and just be like, it's a little vacation.
Yeah.
Hey guys, here's two songs that felt like my summer.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think from what I kind of noticed, a lot of people felt that way too, because it was short. Two songs, just kind of quick. Just
short and sweet. Exactly.
I off conversations though, right? Human was the one that got the Juno nomination. And everything like that. So I was watching the video the other day, and I was in the dark.
It was crazy.
Yo, that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts.
No. Where was the inspiration for all that? Where did that even come from?
That's
you know what
funny.
I mean? Was that you?
It was like it's me and like the depraved minds that are around me at any given moment. Wow. Like just the creative team. I'm blessed to have a lot of good people around me that like, like when we were coming up with the idea, I was like, I want to do something that's like the extreme version of what I'm talking about, because the essence of the song really is this idea where you think you're so perfect, but you're not so perfect. And I almost felt trapped by that idea, where I was like trapped in a narrative that I didn't feel responsible for. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because that's where the song came from. It came from a relationship that began and ended, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing stuff go around that's like definitely not the truth. And you know what I mean? I just felt trapped by like these lies and this narrative that like I was this way, I was that way, and it's like, but like, you know, even though like even though it's kind of like painted kind of in half truths, it's not the full picture. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that frustration, that's what it was. Like,
people aren't getting your perspective.
Exactly. And like, meanwhile you're here on your high horse feeling like, oh, like, yeah, now people believe this about him. Like, now I feel like I won. But like the truth is like you do some dirty shit too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so at least like if one of us is gonna be like the person to admit like we're human beings in this whole thing,
is that about a girl, by the way?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, 100%, right?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's what it was. So I was like, I need like the most extreme version of that story to be told. And it felt like kidnapping. It felt like somebody kidnapped like the whole narrative of what happened.
Shit, in the music videos seemed like that too, man.
Yeah, that's literally what it was. I was like, man, I want to be abducted by this person. Like, I want to feel that. Like, because that's how I felt when I was writing it. Yeah. And so like we put together this whole vibe, and like, shout out the whole creative team for the video. Everybody was like so good in putting that together, and like I rode a horse. That was cool. Yeah.
Did that take a while, or did you like?
I had like a whole 40 seconds of training, so I feel like I'm an equestrian basically.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. 40 seconds of training. I feel like, like let's just do this now. Like I'm just sell my car and get a horse. Like that's what I am now.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It felt cool. It felt cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how that whole thing happened, and it was just like a beautiful visual, and people really connected with it. I was like, all right, like let's do more of these stories.
Why call it a short film instead of a music video? Was that the element of the whole story?
Yeah, like I didn't want to do like a video. I wanted to do like these very short films. I was like, a very short film just feels funny. Yeah. Like let's do a 3-minute film about this song.
It seemed like that though. Because the story went on, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It didn't feel like a video. It felt like a short film. So I was like, let's call it a short film, and like take ourselves out of what it needs to be for a video and just make it a film with narrative and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna switch it up a little bit.
Let's do it.
What are some inspirations you got Just in general, I know you're a guitarist, so I kind of wanted to ask you for your guitar inspirations as well. But just in general, what are some things that inspire you?
Oh man, okay, so there's things that inspire me, and there's like people that inspire me.
Okay.
Like musically, I feel like in terms of the people that inspire me, it's the crazy ones usually. It's like your Laurens and your Princes and stuff, because you can hear it in the records. Like
I can hear the Prince inspiration.
Yeah, like that's.
I can.
It just, I don't know. I still remember the first time I heard Purple Rain, and all that kept running through my mind is like how fearless the music is.
Yeah.
Like I hear it and it's just like, it's so fearless. You could tell this guy's not worried about a thing.
Yeah.
He's just being himself. And that's cool. You know what I mean? Like some of the records you could tell he's just doing what he feels like he wants to do in that minute when he's recording it.
Yeah.
And
a lot of emotion into it too.
Yeah, exactly. And just so much personality, and I want my music to reflect that. So
yeah.
You know, in terms of the things, just stories about my life, things that I've been through, you know what I mean? I think one of the things that keeps me going more than anything is just that idea that every now and again, like all the time, I'll just get messages from people that are talking about how they connect with the stories. And that's the stuff that like really hits me, where it's like I'm telling these stories and people are hearing it and connecting with it, and like, you know what I mean? I can get up on stage and be like, this is how I'm fucked up. Like, how are you fucked up? Like, this is how I'm a mess. Like, how are you a mess?
It's relatable.
Exactly. And people hear it and connect with it, and that feedback is just like crack to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
That's what it is. That's what really gets me going.
Okay, how about musically?
Musically, yeah, definitely.
I mean, we mentioned Prince. But
absolutely. Definitely Prince, definitely Lauren, definitely like D'Angelo, definitely Amy.
Nice, okay.
A lot of real soulful, like heart on sleeve kind of music. Yeah. You know, that's always the stuff. Elements of everything Jhyve does. So much Jay, like his whole discography is crazy to me.
Also, in Dust to Dawn, you kind of do. It's not that you rap, but you have a little bit of a rap.
Yeah. I just wanted to like bring that out because it felt good in the minute.
Is that something you're gonna try a little bit more?
I feel like I've had moments where I've like really flirted with that idea, but I don't know if I really want to stay there. I think what it is, like every time I do it, it's cool. Yeah. But then like I have records where I'm just like really singing and I'm like, that's really what it is. It just feels like vacation. It just feels like a cool stop. Always, yeah. And I feel like that's gonna make it feel special, because whenever I do it, it's like, okay, it's not gonna last.
Yeah.
You know, so just enjoy it for what it is.
Taken away whenever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the whole idea of Jhyve? Like, first of all, I know the name comes from one, the dance, and then also just the jazz music as well.
Absolutely, originally, yeah.
But what was the reason for you picking the name?
I was like watching Shaft one day. And
okay,
like,
right, yeah,
that's
the perfect way to start it.
Yeah, so I was just watching Shaft one day, and there's a scene where he's like interrogating this guy, and like old Shaft too, not like Samuel Jackson Shaft, the old one.
Okay.
He's like talking to one of his informants on the street about some shit, and at one point he's like, "Don't jive me, man," and I was like, "That's hilarious. That's just a funny thing to say to somebody, like, don't jive me." And the way he said it, I was like, "This is cool," because like jive talk is like talking different, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I felt like from the jump, from the time I started like writing songs, the way I like approached it was kind of different. Like my songs have to be stories, you know what I mean? For me to like really get through a thought, I have to like turn it into a story in my head. Mm-hmm. That's the only way I can like ever present something ever mentally. So
that's super dope.
You know what I mean? Like that's just the way I think about everything. So a lot of time in the music, when you're hearing it, like it has to have a narrative, because that's the only way I understand.
Do you think that comes from the fact that you've had like a musical household? So
yeah, and it just the artists I choose to listen to, right? Like all the artists I listen to, like that's kind of where it comes from, and that's the stuff that impacts me, and I feel like that's the stuff that impacts people the most. Stuff where it's like stories that you can connect with. So, I feel like all of that came together in just picking the name Jhyve, because I just felt like Jhyve's like a funny, smooth way of talking, and like I felt like I could do that, and then moreover, just giving people these stories, you know. So that's where it really came from, and it just kind of stuck, and there it is, you know.
Is the jacket a part of the Jhyve?
Oh yeah, the jacket's always part of the Jhyve, man. Yeah. Always, yeah. No, I'm like a regular at thrift shops. I've actually got like a highlight on my Instagram where I just go through like when I'm thrifting, I take pictures. Those are
probably the best spots to get jackets like that. Man.
Yeah, 100%. Oh no, yeah. This jacket's like, I got it for like $40 at a thrift store like at Bloor and Lansdowne, and
okay, cool.
I'm pretty sure the jacket's like 10 years,
Shout
20 years.
Plug.
Yeah, straight up. Shout out to the plug. Shout out to the jacket plug. You know who you are. Yeah, but all my jackets like that. I just go to like thrift stores and like, cause I you know what it is? It's the same thing. Like I look at a jacket and I see a story. Yeah. I look at everything and I see stories. It's so weird. Like, you know, some people like hear colors. Like I just see stories and everything.
Is film something that inspires that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm big into movies. I lose myself in every movie ever known to man.
Are you one of those like Netflix bingers? Like
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Like it's, and like that's what I mean. It's like it takes over everything. Like that I do, that I enjoy. You know. So that's me. I love vintage things because you can look at something and like you could tell it's been through something.
Yeah.
You know, so even my guitar, it's like it wasn't a brand new one. I bought it and it was like, I bought it from like an instrument buy and sell.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was one of the things. Like I had a guitar that I bought new.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will trade you this guitar that's like 2 years old, pretty much mint condition,
for an older
for
guitar.
that like literally that 35-year-old guitar you have on the shelf. And that's how I met Cherry.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's how Jhyve met Cherry. It was a beautiful story.
Wow. Okay, wait. So the guitar's name is Cherry.
Her name is Cherry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it just the one only guitar you got? Like Cherry is
I've got one other guitar, but that's my main boo right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Named after because Amy Winehouse named her guitar Cherry too. She had a song called Cherry.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. straight up.
Yeah.
And it just felt fitting because she's like this bright red guitar. Like anybody that knows me off my Insta has seen this guitar before, or has seen me live has seen this guitar before. It's
you like to do covers on your Insta too? Is that something?
Yeah, absolutely. You know? There was a time where I was just doing covers like every day.
Yeah.
Covers and like originals. Like I'd actually literally write a 15-second song and then play it over guitar.
That's super dope.
Yeah, and I called it a Jhyve a day, and it was cool. Like actually really connected for like a while.
I like that.
Yeah, and I was just like, I called it a Jhyve a day, and I literally like turn the camera on and like make up a record on the spot.
Yeah.
For 15. This is back when Instagram videos were 15 seconds. That's when I did this. And I was like, so I had 15 seconds to like begin and finish like a thought.
Yeah.
And I just used it as like an exercise. And it was cool. People like appreciated it. I should get back into it. Come to think of it, like,
dope.
Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know why I stopped, just because like things started getting hectic and like, you know, like, I ended up getting like signed and this and that. I was like, man, like, I'm gonna keep up with this, where I'm trying to like build like my first EP and this and that, you know, so, and like rehearsing. So
yeah, you get caught up in the whirlwind of it.
I know, but like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, like I should go back to that. It's cool. It was like a cool exercise. It was like a nice thing to do, and people appreciated it. So shout out to all my Jhyve a day like people that know that.
Shout out. Yeah. Did you ever? This is kind of flipping the topic as well. Did you ever imagine yourself in the position that you are right now?
I mean, you imagine something like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like you always imagine like a silhouette almost. Like, you see like the basic form. From the beginning, you see the basic form of where you'll end up.
And then you just go Super Saiyan.
Yeah. And then you just run straight towards it, and it starts becoming clear. So, yeah, you don't anticipate like that, like I'd be sitting here wearing this jacket, like talking these talks, like, but you do envision being somewhere where you're making music and you're living life and you're enjoying it. Like, you know what I mean? I envision the big things, not the little things.
What is the goal, I guess, in the future? Or, well, I mean, obviously we know what it is. Like you're trying to tour the world.
Absolutely, spread the gospel.
Spread the gospel. Be one of the biggest artists in the world as well.
100%, yeah.
Which I think you definitely have.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
But at the same time, what is the way you want to influence it?
I think, and that's a good question. I feel like sometimes you're absolutely right. It's not about whether or not you want to influence the world, but how.
Yeah.
How do you want to be remembered? You know? And so I want to be remembered for the kind of music I make. You know what I mean? I want the music to reflect the man. I want people to say of the music the same thing they say of the person, that is honest, that it comes from a real place.
Yeah.
And that I tried to kind of take a piece of myself and present it to you and kind of say, this is where this is who, you know, this is who I am.
Yeah, yeah.
and I can see this piece of me and you, and like, just I feel like the essence of the human experience is just like connecting with people over anything.
Kind of giving your music and have it a reflection of themselves.
Yeah, and people see themselves in like what I'm saying and kind of the stories I'm telling. Cause I mean, that I don't know. That's just, to me, that's like, that's the foundation of what the fuck we're doing here in general.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just to like shine your light and just hopefully people see themselves in it.
How? Actually, no. I have a quote for you.
Hey, that's beautiful.
Right, you ready?
Yep.
This is about influence. All right. A person of influence, to be influential, in fact, does not have to be the most influential people in your life, but it's probably the people that you are not even aware of that have taught you the most.
Yeah. Really shit you ever wrote.
Do you agree with that?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like, I don't know, you think of it like air. Like, I mention air, and we're reminded that we're constantly breathing.
Yeah, we take advantage of that.
It's the essence of life. And unless somebody makes it aware to you, you're like, oh yeah, like I have taken 2,000 breaths today. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things.
That's
like
weird, bro. Yeah,
it's to think about it, right? Like, think about it, that it's like a heartbeat, right? There's nothing more essential to the continuing of your life than this thing that happens totally under the radar. We get so caught up in like all these other things, but it's not. It's the heart. Your heart's beating right now. Like, and if it stops one day, it's like, no, that's it. Like, you know what I mean? So I totally agree. I feel like the things that influence us most are the things that are so close to us that like we've just learned to like see through it.
Like your parents, like family,
100%.
like things like that. A lot of things people take for granted, right?
Absolutely. The things we take for granted, the people around us.
Yeah.
You know, the people around us are everything. For good, you know, for better and for worse. The people around us are generally us. You know, generally speaking, we are who we're around. We are what we're around.
What's that saying again? Yeah, you're a collection of the things or people around you.
Yeah, the people you hang out with most. Take the 5 people you talk to most, hang out most with, and you could generally get a good sense of where you're at based on like the kind of people they're around and why they're around. You know, so yeah, I totally agree with that.
That's super dope, man. Any new releases? Anything coming up? I know you were in the studio before we got.
Yep.
Anything kind of like you're working towards another EP or
single?
Well,
first things first. That Remy Shan cover, "Take a Message." I think we're probably gonna put that out sometime in the new year. The actual record, like on Spotify, because like even from yesterday, people hit me up like, "Where can I get that?" I'm like, "We just did it." Yeah. So like the more people request it now, I'm like, we should probably put this out. Like, it's cool. So that's actually like very, very fresh, where I'm thinking like we should probably put that out. So I think in the new year that's gonna come out, and then just a return to the stuff I was doing with Conversation, especially with Purpose, where it's just like this beautiful, emotional, hard-hitting stuff. I'm gonna get back to that stuff. Really get back in my bag, get back in my bag. You know. Yeah. So that's coming in the new year. Overseas doing some shows in the new year. That's gonna be really interesting. Apparently they love me out in Germany.
Really?
So I'm gonna go say what's up in Germany. Okay. I don't know what's up in German, like, so if anybody knows that, DM me what's up in German, because
all I know is they got real good beer out there, bro.
You know what I mean? They got good beer. Apparently the music scene's crazy out there.
Yeah.
I've been constantly hearing from artists.
They've got like clubs and like bunkers.
Yeah,
like you go down and you don't even hear it, and then once you hear it, it's just like a wide, massive space.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
So I've only heard good things from anybody whenever I've mentioned that I'm going overseas next year. So I'm very excited about that, just to like show up and be like, what up? Like, is it October? Like, I don't know, like hit me with some beer and like one of those, you know, schnitzels or whatever I'll eat, and like let's just get it popping.
Yo, schnitzels are fire.
They are. I'm not even sure if that's German though. It just sounded German as fuck as I said it. So I'm sorry if I offended anybody. I'm sure like there's a schnitzel historian that's gonna check me. Yeah. Excuse me.
This isn't a schnitzel.
Exactly. The internet, you know. So
Jhyve, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Anything you want to plug? Anything you want?
Yeah. So, absolutely. Conversations, go check it out. Purpose, go check it out. Dustadon, go check it out.
Yep.
Take a Message is coming very, very early in the new year. Check that out. And just look out for me, because there might be like a show near you. So follow me, you know. This is Jhyve on Instagram, on Twitter. Yep. Keep up to date. Let's go through this crazy process together, you know.
I love it.
There it is.
All right, cool. All right, man. Thank you very much for coming with me and joining me on this journey.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Great talks.
This is The Influence. See you later.
Take care.
Take care. Cool.